Good morning, good people of a great nation. It's a pleasure to welcome you to a fresh edition of Development Focus with Jide on ITV this morning. We'll be talking literature. A lot is happening in the world of literature. We just had the Nobel Prize of Literature announced. We just also had the announcement from Nigeria Liquefied Gas, NLNG prize winner in literature and literary critics announced a couple of weeks ago. And incidentally, Association of Nigerian Authors has just clocked 40 years in existence. So I brought a former president, immediate past president of Association of Nigerian Authors, to come and talk with us and explain to us on the theme resilience and nation building, the role of Nigerian literature. And there is no other person that can do justice to that but this young man in elderly man's clothes, who has seen it all in the world of Association of Nigerian Authors, former secretary and former national president, Association of Nigerian Authors. I'm talking of Malam Denja Abdullahi. You're welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Jide.
Early congratulations on Nana's 40th anniversary.
Thank you so much.
That's heartwarming.
Yeah.
So tell us a lot more about yourself. I know you are a public servant. You are also a writer, a poet laureate, so many things. But let's hear it from the horse's mouth.
Well, thank you so much for inviting me to this program. Presently work at the National Council for Arts and Culture as a director. I've had a career in journalism. I've had a career in the academia before I crossed over to public service in 1998. And I've been writing ever since I was in the primary school years. I remember we used to write letters to the editor for Herald newspapers.
That was how I started too,
yes.
In 1980.
I remember the first thing I wrote was a complaint about the bad state of our roads in Gakabi, Lorry, which was published in the Herald.
And that's still with us. The bad state of road is still with us.
And since then, you know, I took up writing ever since then, and I just found myself studying English and literature at the University of Jos. So that also made me to go deeper into the world of writing. Having read so many people, having learned the theories of writing, literature and criticism. So I started writing poetry as an undergraduate in the University of Jos. So I wrote through my period in university, and when I graduated, I continued. And I started as a lecturer in the Federal Polytechnic in Benin. Then while there I left it for journalism. I was in the AM News and the news group in the hot days of the General Abacha's regime. I was there, but I had to leave journalism to go back to the academia. Journalism was very tough. And it's still very tough.
It's still.
So I left it, and from there I decided to switch to public service again in 1998, where I have been till now. But all these years, I've been involved in the Association of Nigerian Authors as a founder of a chapter in Kebbi. I crossed over to Abuja, I continued. I was elected to the National Executive Council of the Association of Nigerian Authors in 2001. And by some chance, I had been there. I was there through several positions: vice president, ex officio, general secretary, assistant general secretary, until I was elected president in 2015. See now. So I've married two careers: public service and the unofficial writing career as a literary administrator. And I've married the two. Well, incidentally, in the public service sector where I work, part of what we do is also to promote literature, because National Council for Arts and Culture, we promote literature, we promote the performing arts, and we promote the visual arts. So it's like the job I do as my day job, part of it, a significant part of it is also the matter of promoting literature. So that is why it has been possible for me to marry both.
Okay, I hope your wife will not mind the fact that you share that with your literary work. So there are so many things we want to talk about.
Yes.
But let's start from in National Council for Museum
Arts and Culture,
and the National Council for Arts and Culture,
yes,
where you work. Not many people know about what that organization does.
You may not. I don't think that is true, because it's one of the parastatals that were established early enough after the promulgation, even before the promulgation of Nigerian Cultural Policy in 1988, and it was established about up to about 40 years ago, as we speak. Yes, if I remember vividly, and that place has been at the forefront of promoting Nigerian arts and culture. Primarily, we are known to be the organizers of the flagship project of National Festival for Arts and Culture every year, and there have been a lot of achievement from then to now. It is also very prominently now. Of course, you know our Director General now, Otumba Olusegun Olusewe, is somebody that the media will not claim not to know, because he has been in the forefront of marketing Nigerian arts and culture when he was the DG of the NTDC, Tourism Development Corporation, before he became DG of NCAC in 2017. So he has been in the picture with what we do in the National Council for Arts and Culture. So that is the government agency that has its own mandate, schedule, and way of operation, which has been managed all the while by the various people that have headed it, and to today it is still being done by the current DG.
Okay, yes, Otumba Segun Olusewe is an household name when it comes to issue of culture,
yes,
cultural diplomacy, cultural promotion of culture, arts and crafts, and all of that.
Yes.
Anyway, that's part of literary ecosystem.
Exactly.
But let's look at the Association of Nigerian Authors.
Yes.
You have been there, yes, for over 2 decades.
Yes, yes.
And today we are celebrating Anna at 40.
Yes.
What do you think has been your overall overview of Anna as a baby from inception, when the Chinua Achebe, Wole Soyinka, and J.P. Clark mooted the idea and fostered it 40 years ago? What's your overall impression of that?
Well, one thing that has been very impressive about Anna is its resilience, and that is why the theme for this anniversary is tied around the issue of resilience, in the sense that Anna has been consistently at the forefront of promoting Nigerian literature since 1981 to the present time that we speak. They have not flagged. They have weathered all the storms. They've not been people that the association has not been an association that is challenged by lack of finance in order to scale down activities or in order to abandon projects and programs. That consistency is resilience. Anna has been consistent in terms of organizing its convention every year since 1981, and they pick themes that are topical, that are relevant to the socio-political well-being of the country at that particular moment for every year until this year. Anna has addressed democracy. Anna, 8 years ago, addressed the issue of literature and security. Anna has addressed literature and social media. It has addressed literature and civilization. So it has been consistent in addressing topical things at each particular year. Beyond that, Anna has executed a lot of projects to schools, outreach programs, where school children in the secondary and the tertiary institutions and primary have been taken through what we call literary awareness campaign, being schooled out, being schooled how to read, and being engaged with notable writers they hear about. They have been seeing them live in their schools, all through the efforts of Anna. Anna has chapters in all the states of the Federation, and it has been awarded literary prizes before some modern day literary prizes that we're talking about came. Anna has been awarded literary prizes of 10,000 naira, recognizing talents, building those talents for world recognition. Many of the world-class writers that Nigeria boasts of today that are in America and they are all over the world, they cut their teeth in Anna. I can mention their names. Many of them began this writing, they started being encouraged by people that were elderly in the association or they were more prominent, and they nurtured them and they blew up by winning Anna prizes, and from there they got world recognition. People like Elon Abila was made by Anna, in the sense that people like Odia of him mentored them in Lagos to become what they are today. So if you so that association
Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie in Lagos,
yeah.
As at the time I was anyway, this is not about me.
Because the man talking here has also played a significant part of the history of the Nigeria. We'll talk about that. Yes.
Anyway, so Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, I recall as at the time I was Executive Secretary of Anna.
Yes.
And that was about the time she was leaving for US.
Exactly.
And I recall that the late Obunse, yes, told me about her.
Yes.
And how she was a very bright young writers at that time, before she relocated to US, yes. And today she's international award winner.
So a lot of them, Mike Nwosu, Nduka Otiono, Pius Adesami, the one that is the world famous that died some 2 years ago.
Yeah.
They all won Anna prizes.
Yes.
With their writings. So Anna is like a father, grandfather.
Even Tony Khan.
Tony Khan too. He's like a father that of many children who helped them at their early career and allowed them to bloom later in life. So that is why the issue of the most attractive thing, my general overview of Anna, that I can point at is its resilience that has culminated today in what we are doing today. For example, today history is being made just a few meters away from this station, in the sense that a whole village has been developed, and that village is called Mama Basa Writers Village in Papi, from a land donated to Anna in 1985 by General Basa when he was Minister for the FCT. Now in that village, we are commissioning on Friday the Chino Achebe International Conference Center, 1,500 seating capacity. By the time you were Executive Secretary of Anna many years back, you know Anna was more like a beggarly association.
And Anna was in a rented apartment at Thomas, Lagos.
Exactly. Going to beg and sponsors foundations and
foundation.
Now today, Anna has its own property. And I can tell you, no professional association in Nigeria has the property Anna has now to call its own. So if you look at that whole of it, it's like somebody silently working and laboring for years, unfledging, believing that the future will be okay, and the person is still constant in his labor, and the future has become bright for the association. That's my overview of the association of Nigeria.
So today, Anna has a secretariat, functional secretariat,
more than a secretariat
than its own. That's its own.
Added to that structure that we're talking about is also 51-bedroom apartment, hotel apartment.
Wow.
That later on, when it is fully completed, will be put to use for rent and for writers that want to come and hibernate to write very great things. So that is what it is. But this is just an aspect of all what the association has achieved as a body. Many other literary associations today took that gene. You know, there's a way, I don't know the scientific way of saying it. The original code for organizing literature was taken from Anna. Many of those people organizing Ake,
book festival.
They all learned to organize book festival from their participation in Anna activities.
In Anna, yes.
When they were in Anna, they saw how Anna organizes his festivals and so now they've taken it up and have created independent book festivals all over the country. If you check it, those that are at the bottom of organizing those festivals were members of Anna who learned those tricks from Anna, but they have now moved it up to the 21st century demands. So Anna now being like a behemoth, you know, definitely sometimes some conservatism may be seen in its approach. And of course, what your children will do will be more jazzier and will be more the picture will be brighter than maybe what the father did.
Of course.
But the original...
Every father wants their children to be better than them, and Allah is proud to be one.
Yes.
Anyway, Danger, you have written several books.
Yes.
I've attended some of your book presentations.
Yes.
But one was very outstanding. Merogo.
Merogo, yes.
What prompted you to write that book? Because it's like Merogo has taken a life of its own.
Yes.
There have been several stage plays from Merogo and all of that. So how did that idea incubate and got bettered? And how many books do you have so far to your credit?
Okay, I have about 13 books now.
Wow, that's
and
good.
Some of them are about 6 poetry collections, 2 or 3 dramas, and some other co-edited books on scholarly themes.
Okay.
With one of my collaborators, Professor Jide. We've done 2 books on Chino Achebe, me and the fourth, who is also a member of ANA, and some other text that I cannot recall now. A collection of interviews, like you. I know you have about 2 or 3 collections of interviews of your your intervention in politics and all over the years.
That's true.
And your writings in the press. Me, I have about 2 collections of my interviews with the different media on literature, culture, and arts that have been published in various Nigerian newspapers. Now, beyond from all those gamut of listening, I'm coming back to Merogo. Merogo was my first published book in 2001.
That was
20 years ago, as per a published text. And Merogo, a buffon's poetic journey around northern Nigeria. That's the title of the text. And I wrote the book partly when I was living in northern Nigeria, when I was still in Benin KB as a young man that had started work as a lecturer. And I observed the north from where I got my education. University of Jos, before I moved to Ilorin for masters and it's part of the north. Then when I now settled down to the north to live and start working, I observed a lot of things, and I saw that the north has not been really represented in literature. And I decided to take it from a kind of a comedic perspective, using the theme of, or using the trope of a madman who has a license to say it all. You know, in our community, anywhere we find ourselves,
poetic license.
Poetic license. You have people that like are half sane and half insane. They are the borderline of sanity and insanity. And those people, they say some things that are very good, and they say some very useless things. So I use that trope to now let me talk about the north, because I know there will be criticism, and I want to do the criticism from an empathic perspective. A criticism that will make you, the ones being criticized, to laugh, but that will show love, so that even that your criticism will now elicit adversarial response.
Reaction.
So I did that, and I did all that using the voice of the people that I have heard, and I did it in the tradition of the itinerant comedian of the north. That tradition has died out, where you see people that will go to the markets and beat drums and play all sorts of things. So I used that tradition, and when I came up with that text, I suddenly just saw it being liked by people. I saw a lot of northerners say, this is unique, because I use a style that has in a way gone out of fashion. And after I did all that, we quitted. I left it at that. I didn't really finish it. When I came to Abuja, I had to serialize for a magazine. I started editing a magazine as a consultant, so I was serializing the thing. So when the story ended from where I left it in Medikebi, I just had to proceed with it. So the serialization now helped me to extend the book and complete it. And it was honorably mentioned for the Anna Cadbury Prize in 2001. And of course, it became a text beloved of everybody who read it. And students were writing projects on it, PA, masters, and even recently a PhD thesis was written on that work.
Wow.
Yes,
wow.
From somebody who didn't even meet me, but later on he just saw me on Facebook. I used your text for my PhD, and he sent me the thesis and I read it. Now, the book had a lot of interest, and students in various universities it was recommended for study by their lecturers, and they used to contact me in projects when they write projects. Then, of course, one unique thing that happened is that this, after I had been praying for it to be extended into the stage or even translated into Hausa, and nobody took up the challenge. So suddenly, early this year, a young group of performers in Benue, Macaulay, came across the test and they want to put it on stage, and they did, and they invited me to come and watch in Macaulay. I watched it, was wow, and I brought them to Abuja in August to also showcase it. And what I saw was that all the issues that I was writing about 20 years ago all of the issues appears very current. Because I talked about...
You are quite prophetic.
Exactly. In that book, I talked about the issue of poverty, al-majiri. I talked about the issue of insecurity. I talked about the issue of the violence in northern Nigeria that has taken a life of its own that are caused by religious crisis, drug abuse, and the rest of them. And people were now at the production. People were saying, when I told them I wrote this in 20 years ago, they said, 20 years ago, you are writing about today. So that tells you one thing about writing, creative writing, especially when writers write, they write and try to project into the future or warn the society of what they are seeing today. Those things later come to pass, and they will now say the writer is a prophet. That is so that book. That is the way that book came up to be. It is my magnum opus.
Of course, it is.
That is the book that has identified me as a writer.
There is nowhere people see Denja Abdullah, they will not say Mirugu. So it's interesting to know.
Yes.
Now, let's go. We will still talk about the Anna at 40, the resilience and nation building, the role of literature. What's your take on literary prices?
Okay.
Let's start from home. Anna prizes, then you have NNG, Nigeria Liquefied Natural Gas, came in to support by giving its own prize in literature and in sciences. And then look at Nobel Prize, the Keynes, and other global literary prizes. What's your take nationally and internationally?
Well, the prizes have generated a lot of interest for some years now when prizes became glamorized. At the beginning, apart from the Nobel that has always had that glamour, all other prizes that have been awarded all through the years in other places, and even in Anna as an example, those prizes were not really thing of glamour, but they were a thing of like affirmation of the craft of the writer at that point, or affirmation of the potential of the writer for future greatness. Other prizes, for example, there was a time it was 10,000 naira. You were there as an administrator when the time
2001.
It was just 10,000.
10,000. But that in Port Harcourt, I recall the prize that was given in Port Harcourt at the convention.
So when it was 10,000, the money was small, but a bit of at that time it was something very good, but not too big as we see today. But the writers that won those prizes were very well satisfied for the fact that this association of writers, a collection of critics and writers, through their judges, have seen something of importance in them. So that was the joy of those prizes then, that, I've been affirmed. But later on, prizes became glamorized with huge sum of money. Even other prizes moved from 10,000 to 100,000 in 2003. And it is still 100,000 as we speak. Imagine. It moved from 10,000 to NDDC. NDDC and Nigeria Delta Development Commission now endowed some prizes for Anna and jack up the price to 100,000. A big leap for us at that time.
Yeah, I recall.
Now, the Cadbury was offering $1,000 at one point in time, with all sorts of prizes because they are corporate bodies, Spectrum and the rest of them. Now, the prizes, when it now became very glamorized, you now have an energy awarding a prize of $100,000. It started with $30,000 to 50, then 100,000. So now the focus of some of these prizes now is about the pecuniary attachment. The focus has in a way shifted from the issue of affirmation of excellence. And I have one thing about prizes. It doesn't confer any excellence on the work. Rather, it affirms excellence. A good writer is a good writer, whether the writer wins a prize or not. The winning of the prize is just to say, there is merit here.
It's like football.
It is not prize. It's not the prize that gives merit to the work.
No, it's your skill. Yes. It's your literary skill. So it's like, sorry to pause you.
Yes, yes.
It's like football.
Yes.
How many people can win Footballer of the Year? But it's not only Messi or Ronaldo or that plays on pitch, or that is very skillful in playing football. But only that you can only give one to. So I'm just saying that to concur with that. The prizes are affirmation.
Yes.
You have been good. You are good on your own before that comes.
Exactly.
So it's not about the money that you want.
Yes, but the issue that we want to discourage is the people writing for prizes. Because you not see a team of people now tailoring their writing towards winning a prize. Meanwhile, all those who won prizes in the, for example, when I wrote Morogo, I was not thinking of any prize. I only wrote my thing, read it, but and it was honorable mentioned. And some of the things that I have written that won prizes, I didn't write them because there was a prize in my view. But now people are doing that. Let me give you an example. I wrote another work, song Death and the King's Grey Hair, which won the Sonta Master Player Prize in 2015. Yes, 2015. The prize was just for 300,000 naira. I was surprised when I entered for it and the thing won. Meanwhile, my book had been written some years back before I entered for that prize. Now, that same book was shortlisted for the NLG Prize in 2018. Maybe you didn't know. That same book was longlisted, later shortlisted, and the $100,000 was looking at me like this. But unfortunately, at the awards night, just as the one was recently awarded, one of my co-short people on the short list won it. Meanwhile, there is politics to every prize. And there is every prize has its own focus. And that prizes in the past was largely developmental, was concocted or was designed to assist young writers and announce them to the world. So that is why, if at a point in time they say if a well-known writer test and that of a younger one are like going head to head for an prize, the judges have that imperative that you award it to the younger writers.
Yeah, because it's done.
So another prize was at the beginning largely developmental. It's still largely developmental. So that's why another prize will never be given to on the platform of anybody. Is craft and to develop the young writers. Now, NLG Prize was also created to promote excellence in terms of literature and publishing. That is why they don't accept manuscript. Look at it. ANA accept manuscript. If a manuscript in ANA contends seriously with the published text, manuscript gets it.
Yeah.
Because we want that man who has shown great promise in manuscript to get out there to be published. Now, NLG doesn't accept manuscript. They want a well-published book. So they are looking at the publication as something in their hand, as a text, as an art, and also the content in it. And that is why they say excellence in publishing and literature. Now you can see that is the focus of NLG Prize, and the politics of it is also there. Then we come to the Nobel. Nobel is also political. There are some well-known writers of the world whose works are monumental, who had never won the Nobel. Go back into history of the Nobel. You wonder, why did this writer never won the Nobel? Read all over the party. So Nobel has its own politics, and it's like today, Nobel is for a lifelong labor in writing. If you check, you will never see a young person winning the Nobel Prize.
Yeah, because
Chimamanda, as popular as she is today, you will not get Nobel.
In fact, somebody said for this 2021 Nobel Prize that Chimamanda is too young to be considered the winner of a Nobel Prize. So it's more like a retirement benefit for established writer, not budding an upcoming one.
The thing about Nobel is that it's like a reward for a lifelong labor by a writer.
That's why I said the retirement benefit.
Yes, look at it. So that's why you see when you win the Nobel, you are like you are over the peak of your career.
Yeah, it's an every other thing is anticlimax.
Exactly. So Yinka, although one is at a relatively younger age of 50.
Yeah, 50. Yeah.
But at that time, if you go back to look at what Yinka had written, he had written gamut of tests across all genres that has interrogated the whole world, brought other cultures into Africa, and that was what Yinka was. So the prizes are for only affirms existing excellence and doesn't confer excellence on the writer. Please, and you cannot, like you said, you cannot award the Nobel each year to all the writers that merit it.
No.
You must pick one.
Yes, so in that there's the politics of it.
Exactly.
And okay, so let's leave the politics of price. I'm happy with this clarification, because there have been a lot of brickbats, you know, oh, this person does not merit being given this award, whether at the level of ANA or NLNG or Nobel or Keynes or Pulitzer. Everybody will say, this person deserves it better. The same way we all thought Okocha should have won African Footballer of the Year at some point, at the peak of his career. But people said, you know, he was playing for Bolton Wanderers. If he had been playing for Man U or in a more competitive team and all of that. But anyway, there you are, you've had it. If you don't get an award for your writing, don't lose hope. Don't think you are not good. You are still good. You are like a singer. Not every record will win platinum award. I mean, some people is only when they have done about 10 albums that people will now blow, quote and unquote, and people will start talking about them as if that's their first album. But it could be their 6th, it could be their 10th, it could be their 15th album that will make them to blow. So just continue to have self-belief. What's your take on self-publishing?
Without a lot of people have even written very scholarly work on self-publishing. The present test that won NLG Literary Prize for Criticism, 1 million naira, I think, was an article, an essay of self-publishing during the military dictatorship. Yeah,
I read it.
Now, self-publishing, no matter how people condemn it, is very critical in the life of writers from a particular part of the world at a particular time. Because I know many of our writers in Nigeria here started by self-publishing themselves.
Yeah, we were on technology and literary work. So land on your thoughts.
Well, I said technology has really impacted positively on the packaging of the finished product that goes out to the reader. When the way is literature, yes, we have all what is possible to make a text appealing to the final reader in terms of cover design, cover concept, in terms of even the fonts that is used according to whatever is the genre you are writing from. Technology is there. Even desktop publishing is there to assist in that manner. For the writer that has to do researches, that has to go around to do researches and maybe move around.
Even in typing the manuscript.
Yes, technology accepts, because you may not need to travel too far now to get into the mood of some research you need for what you are writing on.
Yeah, because the internet is there for you.
So and cool. So and the typing that you are saying, we don't know to write with a hand. We have to write, and your computer screen is a whole lot of word where you can navigate and enhances your final product. But on the other hand, and also you have mentioned some, that technology also gives you the access to marketing. Somebody from far away in the world can engage you by seeing your test. Remember, even you can be your self-promoter, and somebody will engage you. I read this test, or I know you do this. We want to get you to come here to come and do this. They'll give you tickets to travel, residencies. You get residencies through technology. In the net, you search for residencies. They ask you to come to one resort to come and write for 2-3 months. They will fund your fund to fully boarded. That is the technology has made that very possible. But on the other side of it is that technology may be distracting people that may read us, because now the very good habit of picking a book filling the pages, reading the words, going back on it, repeating the lines in your head, reading it again. That very good habit of reading has been is being corroded by the same technology, because the internet, there's so much information packed into a smartphone that is competing for your attention. Even as a writer, sometimes when I pick the smartphone, I will see very good critical article, I will see some other things, some news, and I will say I'll go back to this critical text, I will say I'll go back to this story I've just read, and I'll be lost in the maze of it. So that is the adverse effect of technology. People are not reading like before because technology has intruded.
You were talking about the adverse effect of technology.
Yes, the adverse effect is the intrusion and the erosion of the good old habit of reading a physical text. And as still we say, with the advent of e-text, physical text will go out of fashion. Just like you said, with the advent of webzine, newspaper will go out of fashion, or things we say like that. From my own practice, I've seen that it's very difficult for you to do any significant and sustained reading online, where all of us have books downloaded on our phones, in our computers, but you find out that how many of those books have we succeeded in reading? We will read the physical text first before we think of going online. So I think technology intrusion, as in a way, is both positive and negative.
Anyway, let's leave that and talk about Anna at 40. The theme of this year, which is a very in which I share felicitation with Anna, is the resilience and nation building, the role of literature. Walk us through what this theme
in a nutshell, we are trying to look at how writers and our literature are consistent in terms of trying to help in building the nation called Nigeria, right from the period of independence, even the pre-independent period to now. At various stages, our literature, our writers have tried to help us build our nation. In the formative stage, we have been ennobled by our writers to talk back to the West that we also have a civilization. We have a culture that can be a thing of study. That was what Soyinka Achebe and the rest generation that has did. Then beyond that, when we entered the period of military rule, our writers were trying to also fight dictatorship with a whole lot of texts that were reading against oppression, tyranny of the military, that were calling back for democracy. I
recall Soyinka writing King Babu.
Some writers even went to jail based on the text they wrote. Some were handed over Nigeria because of what they wrote. So to the time democracy came, our writers are still writing satire to warn us of the perils of democracy that we practice today. So that resilience, we do this, writers do this, our literature does this, because we want Nigeria to be a Nigeria of our dream. We want to keep our rulers on their toes, because anywhere in the world where leadership are not kept on their toes, leadership will fail and they will not do what the common people want. So that is why writers have to adhere to their God-given, in quote, responsibility of being the watchdog of and the conscience of the society. Along with the journalists, the writers do that. Journalists engage frontally, day by day. Writers sit back, reflect, and engage in more enduring ways. And that is why you see most of our writers have gotten into trouble. Soyinka has been in trouble. Achebe has been in trouble. Kansarewa has been in trouble.
Only you have not been in trouble.
I've also suffered it.
Okay.
Let us end up by saying that even as a public servant, I know what I've suffered to be a writer in public service. It is silent, but I know I've...
So let's look at the role of the role of writing in anti-corruption war.
Yes.
We cannot pretend that all is well with Nigeria. Before we have COVID-19 pandemic, we have corruption being endemic in Nigeria, and our rating globally has not been very encouraging. So what role do you see for literary society in dealing with this issue of anti-corruption and holding government to account?
Well, on that matter, I was opportune to deliver a lecture 2 years ago at the EFCC Academy before people at the media people in the EFCC, and my topic was just part of it was literature and corruption, and I was able to point out that look, there has been tons of tests addressing the issue of corruption in Nigeria, right from 1960 to today. I gave them some examples of things like Wizard of the Law, Incorruptible Judge.
The Incorruptible Judge.
Remember?
Yes.
These were very popular titles. Yes. What were they talking about? And so many tests, they are innumerable. But I don't say, look, these things are there in textual form. But our problem is, has been, what would I say? Our problem is application, applied literature. When I say applied literature not just for entertainment and for relaxation. We should be able to apply literature to address social problems. When you say apply literature now, for example, now imagine that part of the orientation process for National Assembly member is for them to do some tests and discuss those tests. If you do it like that, the test addressing corruption, part of the orientation process of newly appointed public officers, you pick some literary tests, 1, 2, 3, go read them. So if we start applying literature like that, we will now be seen to be addressing corruption frontally. So, and I remember we have tried to engage the FCC, ICPC, let's do a workshop on literature and corruption. So, and some of these tests can be reduced to some little things that can be taken back to secondary school, primary school, to orientate our children against future corruption. Corruption that can happen at the stage at which they are, and which may happen later on when they get a position of responsibility. So there is no problem in this art, that writers have not written about. A man of the people, go back to that text. You think they are talking about politicians of today. And I wrote this text in early the 60s. Chief Nanga. Is it not? If Chief Nanga is a man of the people, is a typical example of what politicians do today to their country, to their nation. So
one man, one machete, one man, one trouble. All of these are actually some of this. Anyway, okay. So let's as we wind down on this interview, your take on the state of writing in Nigeria, and by this I mean people are living off writing in some clime. Yes. You can live off the Jeffrey Archers of this world, James Hadley Chase, Sidney Sheldon, even this was Frederick Fawcett, and many others. Yes. They write blockbusters that is made into film, and they can live off the proceeds without having to bother about doing any other work. Why has that situation not happened in Nigeria? Why is it that you still have to do some other work in alongside your writing? You cannot see, I don't know, not even Wole Soyinka can say he's living off his writing in Nigeria.
I think it is because of the leakages in the system, in the chain of writing.
Also,
in the chain of the publishing industry, in the sense that piracy comes into it. And there are some people in the chain that don't advance the cause of the writer. For example, if your publisher is not fair to you, your publisher himself will pirate your work. If they don't give you due returns, they are not honest and sincere. And if your marketer does not market you well, you will not make any money from what you write.
And you cannot market yourself. You can't go to every place.
The book chain has collapsed in Nigeria. And that is why the writer is not getting value for his work. But what the outside world has seen long ago that we're not just seeing in Nigeria, is the issue that the creative industry can generate a lot of money. We are beginning to see it. And we have seen it we are beginning to see it in the TV, in television, in fashion, in film. And I think gradually we are beginning to see it in literature now, where we now see that, okay, the writer must be promoted, the writer's text can be made into film, short, and some returns goes into it. And the Copyright Commission in Nigeria is also trying now to protect the intellectual property of the writer, so that writers can live through their writings.
So, on a final note, issue of plagiarism,
yes,
by writers, it's not only in academia that you have this serious issue of writing. There have also been issues around writers plagiarizing ideas of other writers and making them to be like their own. Particularly when you submit your work for award or peer review. People can steal your idea and then turn it to their own. Just like the case in the entertainment industry, where somebody will say, "This lyrics is mine. I just bounce it with you," and then you turn it to your own and make a song out of it. How bad is issue of play? You've talked about piracy, but plagiarism on the part of even the writer, is that not an infringement of the intellectual property of other people?
Much of that is not happening in the writing world. You know why? Writers are people that always want to say they have original ideas.
Okay.
And they don't want people to, the ideas to sound like that of another person. And the issue of plagiarism or plagiarism in writing, creative writing, is not all that too prominent. Because you know why? It is easily detected. Because once you write, you want to put it out in the public. And once the public goes out in the public, anybody can see it and say you are plagiarized. In the academia, some of the things they write are just for their own small circle, closed circle. So sometimes they plagiarize to get promotion, but the urge to plagiarize is not that in the writer, because you are not writing to win any prize or to get promoted in the office. So why will you go and plagiarize somebody? Well, it happens, but it happens when writers are younger. Let me tell you, I'm a writer myself. I know how it happens. It happens when the writer is trying to find his voice. You will now see lines of other people appearing in his voice. Yeah,
particularly poetry.
Poetry, yes. But once it gets to a certain state where you want to now hit the public with your you know that when if a line of somebody else's work enters yours and is seen out there, you will quickly cut to order. So I think it happens at the formative years of writers when they are not too sure of their voices. They don't take it beyond that. Let me say it as good as that for them.
So what's next for Anna? Anna at 40, we have celebrated Anna at 40. Anna now have a writer's village, courtesy of General Mamamvasa of blessed memory. So what's next from the staples of Anna?
The next thing now is that Anna has to consolidate on his past achievement and reorganize itself in terms of administrative structure, in terms of generating support from people, from foundations and the rest of them. And you know what has happened to the egalitarian spirit of Anna? The Anna you knew then welcomed everybody, every Tom, Dick and Harry, accepts everybody. Now, that has caused some very monumental problem for the association. So the association now has to reorder its institution, its administrative structures, its organs and the rest of them, so that it can now meet with the 21st century challenges. Anna is at that point now. And this village that has been commissioned with the structures there will help Anna to organize itself administratively. We need an archive in Anna. If you don't have a house, can you have an archive? We need a depository. All the books you knew that were valuable books that were in the place you were 20, 30 years back, those books are now in several people's houses. So Anna needs to collate itself together and put itself where it belongs in the building they have now.
So how do we do with the issue of controversies around election, succession, leadership succession in Anna has also been very controversial?
What I've seen that has affected Nigerian society, the way our own political election has become a combat, it has gradually crept into every association. NBA, NMA, ASU, and all organizations that you know. Now Anna was shocked with its own implosion in 2019. At the time I was exiting, I saw that there's one thing I've seen in this country: the values have degenerated, and holding on to mere titles with the expectation of possible gain has made people to be crazy to go on do or die politics. And it is one thing. There's one thing there that I've seen: if politics at the national level is service, it's today's service, there will be no battle to serve. Will you battle to go and serve people? No, you don't battle to go and serve people. You battle to go and aggrandize yourself. You battle to go and enrich yourself and enrich people that you know. So if the issue of service is not brought back to our country, is not brought back, we should make service, we should make leadership unappealing, unappetizing in terms of the reward and perks that goes with it. If we don't come back with those values, people will battle for governorship, they will kill themselves over presidency, and they will also come to small associations such as ours to fight for succession. So what needs to be done, like it's been done in the nation, is to make sure you tighten your laws. Tighten it up and make sure you create penalties for people who violate your law. When that is done, people will not struggle for positions as they are struggling for it in Ghana now. On a final note, what has caused that problem and struggle is the view that Anna is now is making headway with the village that is here. That caused that serious battle you heard about. And I now said, okay, where there is prosperity, there must be contention and battle by those who want to control the resources of the people. They will battle for it because there is something to control. But check yourself, where there are no control of resources, where nothing is there, you go and lie on the ground and prostrate to tell people to go and lead. That is what I would say.
Anyway, we hope that's the much time will permit us. I know Malam Denja Abdullahi, you know, he has described himself. He's a journalist, he's a writer, he's an author, he's an administrator, he's an academic. It's so many things rolled into one. I believe you have learned one or two things about literature, Nigerian literature, global literature, issue of prizes, literary prizes, issue of elections in association, and or even how we can use literature to fight corruption. I hope with all of this, and you've learned a great deal, and I want to thank my guest, Malam Denja Abdullahi.
Thank you very much.
I congratulate you on the success of ANA Convention 2021, the 40th anniversary. That was well done.
Thank you very much.
And I wish the current president and his executive divine success as they take the lead into the next phase of ANA. The Writers Village, I can only enjoin you that whoever is serving ANA now, that legacy must not be allowed to rot.
Yes.
It must be kept, and the memory of General Mamman must be preserved in good way for that significant contribution he has made to ANA. I just imagine if you have to buy that land at this current rate, this was a land given way back in 1985.
Yeah.
If that land was not to be there, we will not be talking of ANA Writers Village today. Yes. So please, that is a legacy project. Let's keep it, and let's also have an introspection and make sure that ANA does not die because of greed of some interest group within the community of writers. That will be the size of our package this morning. Enjoy the rest of your day and stay safe.